It is 7.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. We don't have anyone who's asked to speak on an item that's not on the agenda, so we'll start right in with the agenda. First is the report of the secretary, and I think we can finally approve the minutes for November 6th. So may I have a motion for the minutes of November 6th?
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting Wednesday, November 6th, 2019.
Okay, and it's Joe, Sue, Matt, and myself. So,
I wasn't there for that.
right, so it's a good thing you guys are both. All right, does anybody, did we do changes
We've done
and stuff?
2 sessions of changes.
Did we?
Yes,
I
think
think
we're
we
done
did, right?
changes.
These are going to be the best minutes we've ever had.
You know what? They're perfect.
And they were long. It was a lot, yeah.
Matt, did you have any changes?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor then? Let's get these things done. All right.
All right, you're gone.
4-0, and the right people voted. All right, and can we have a motion to approve the minutes of December 4th?
Move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting on Wednesday, December 4th, 2019.
A second.
Okay, so this is everybody but Matt can vote on this. Does anybody have any corrections or changes?
I bet you do.
I got 0.
Wow.
Merry Christmas.
I actually have one. It's the smallest, silliest little thing, but let's see, how many bullets down? Where are we? Page 3.
Page 3.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
4th bullet,
1, 2, 3, 4, civil rights.
Kool-Aid Cup. Yep,
Kool-Aid Cup.
last sentence after the semicolon. I think that should be "and." So they visited the veterinarian stuff and all of that, and like taking the students to a seat, so it's not "or,"
Yep.
right? I think it's "and."
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong.
Oh, I thought it was, they were listing what they did with students.
Yes.
And that was one of the items. So one was the veterinary clinic, and then, or taking them, or whatever.
And, right, instead of "or."
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. No one has any other changes? All those in favor? And that's 5-0, Elaine. All right, so first item on my report is the town officials meeting, which happened 4 meetings today for school board. Joe, what do you got?
It was good. It was fascinating, actually. I'm glad I went. I hadn't been to one in quite some time. So we spent the first 20 or 25 minutes of the meeting talking about the combined, or actually separate, sewer and road projects across the street from here.
Okay.
Perry has apparently run into some roadblocks with the original approach that they were intending to take. They're now looking at a directional boring machine to do the tunnels, literally tunnels, boring underground to get the sewer pipes run. The estimate for that was several $100,000 less than what the bids had come back for the original proposal. So that's the direction that they're going.
Wow. Several
He's
$100,000 less.
he's looking
Can we make some
far
other
away
tunnels
to
while they have
find
that?
Would you
large
Can we just
companies.
make other random tunnels while they have that? Like,
Well,
Just in case.
We can talk, we'll have a chat with Perry. He's optimistic that this will happen in the spring. He
Okay.
said this will happen next spring.
The road.
Yeah,
Okay.
so both.
Sewer
I
than
think.
the road.
The sewer and the
Yeah,
road.
sewer and road.
Okay.
When the road is finally done, it will warrant a traffic light, he said, so it looks like that's going to go forward. We'll have a traffic light out here once that road is done. The road itself, the road workers wanted to bid in late January. That was pretty much what we talked about on that topic. Mr. Carverly gave a lighting project update for the middle school. 8 LED lights installed, 2 not working, and 1 to 2 misaimed. So we're
What does that mean?
pointing in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
into somebody's living room?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Traffic lights
Anyway,
pointing at something.
Yeah, across
One of
the
LED lights
neighbor
on the
across the
parking lot.
street.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That makes more sense than a traffic light.
Yeah, so the installing company's coming back to fix all of those mistakes.
Eventually.
The towns are both working on their budgets now, as we are on ours. There was a bunch of work done on Pleasant Street to address a situation with drainage. They had a bunch of house flooding in the recent rains. There's a crosswalk safety committee now up and running in South Berwick. The crosswalks, particularly in the area of the central school, very concerned about that, and so the citizens committee now looking into that. We learned that today was Perry's 10th anniversary, his taking the role.
Oh,
So
wow.
congratulations to Perry.
Absolutely.
10 years.
I'm sure he's watching.
Let's see, on the Elliott side, all 100 streetlights are already LED. Engineering is going to be starting on moving the public sewer and water up 236 to the compressor station, which I think will at that point include the middle school, so. Yeah, that's, no?
Will it?
That's what he said this
I
morning.
think that would be his long-term.
Long-term.
But
It's
not,
ultimately
like,
to get the middle
Not
school.
immediately, right?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
No.
Like, there's a
Ultimately-
I
process
was
he
gonna
has to
say,
go
up to
through
the compressor station, that's not to
No.
the middle
Yeah,
school
so there's-
yet.
Yeah.
But his goal is to get public utilities to
That
the
would
middle
be
school.
fabulous.
That would be fabulous.
That'd be great. That'll be a deal changer for
Mr.
that area on 236.
Absolutely.
Mr. Caverly gave a report on the recent Alice training that he took with officers Upton and Runs.
Lund.
Officer
Lund,
Lund, okay. And I guess the plan is that we're going to do that training to the district in November.
That would be my plan at this point,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yep.
Cool. That's pretty much it. That's what I had for notes.
Awesome.
Did I
Anything
get
else?
it?
Oh, that was great. It was
Do you
great.
want to tell us about have you, I know you told me about the Ellis,
Yeah,
or
so-
were we here?
No, we were, no.
Okay.
Like, everybody else right now.
I can't remember sometimes, I'm sorry.
We mentioned probably a couple months ago that the district was looking into Alice, which is really kind of a reaction to school violence situations. And so it's a state recommended program in the state of Massachusetts and in Florida. And so what it really does is it changes the way lockdowns work. So a traditional lockdown is that the building's locked down, lights are turned off, and kids kind of go to the corner of the classroom. And what they've done is just to really kind of change that thought process and kind of using some of the case studies that have involved some of the tragedies that have taken place. And so Sergeant Lund, myself, and Jeff Upton, our school resource officer, all went to a training, so we're all certified teachers of that program. And it was really excellent. I think it's a huge shift, though, to teach it to a bunch of school resource officers and then teaching it to first grade teachers, and then in turn teaching it to 6-year-olds. And so we're going to meet with our administrative team in mid-January to kind of calibrate ourselves around that. But my plan at this point is that we do need to address that, and I think Alice is definitely the way to go as a nationally recognized program. We had a study done by the Coast Guard a year ago or so, and one of their recommendations was looking at a national program such as Alice to be able to address some of the needs around our crisis and crisis lockdown situations. So we'll do that. What I would like to do, kind of looking into the future, is that we would offer a training on site here for clinicians in June. If we offer it here, we can get free seats, and so we can get a lot of our staff trained, and I'd like to get some representatives from the teachers in different buildings to be able to volunteer to come in and help teach that, so that when we roll it out to the district, we could do that. I think the other thing we want to talk about is how do we roll this out to parents, so kind of let them know this is what we're thinking about. It's one of those topics that no one really wants to talk about. It's uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's necessary, and just I think obviously whatever we can do to make kids safe is what we want to do. So, and then the end game in my kind of vision right now would be that we would take that. I think it's November 3rd, which is the election day in November, and kind of say that day would be kind of dedicated for district-wide training in Alice, and then really, but we have to customize it for each building because obviously, first grade and seniors in high school is very, very different teaching that. So that's kind of the plan at this point in time. So.
Sounds great. Excellent. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
I do remember now. We talked
Yeah,
about Friday.
I think the one thing
Agenda
that
meeting.
is startling that they really mentioned is the Columbine situation where they went into lockdown, and so obviously things have changed significantly since then. But there was a point in time where police officers weren't allowed to go into the building until a certain number of officers arrived, or specialty officers arrived. So there was officers sitting outside the building and not coming in while things were going on. They also had a situation where students were in lockdown and they could have evacuated the building. So for instance, if someone was at the far end of the building, they could have evacuated to the other end of the building and got the kids out. They stayed in place, and then that gave the perpetrator a chance to be able to come into where the kids were kind of waiting. And so just those are horrific things to think about, but it just kind of goes back to the data
Yeah.
around trying to logically think about how do you keep kids most safe, and it really at that point in time there's some really good research out there. And so again, as I said, it's not a great topic to talk about. It was one of those things that at the time I didn't like being there because it just isn't a fun topic, but at the same time when I walked out of there, I obviously think it changed me, having to think about things a little bit differently. So
Good, thank you. We have one other thing that's not on the agenda, but both Joe and Paul have a conflict for the January 15th meeting, so we need either a strong commitment from the other four of us, or move it. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about how you feel about that. And then there also may be a problem with the March 18th meeting, because Lisa and I most likely won't be here, and potentially Paul.
I won't know
But
till
he won't
January,
know.
but I might have a conference I need to be at then.
So, so I didn't know if anybody else had a conflict for the 15th meeting. Let's start there, because if we do, then we'll definitely have to move that, because Paul and Joe will definitely not be here.
Okay.
You're good? And obviously, if somebody gets, deadly sick, we'll just have to roll the dice. But as long as everybody can commit, we'll leave that one. And then probably revisit the March 18th meeting when Paul knows for sure.
Yep.
And maybe I'll know for sure too, because I'm kind of up in the air, but
Which one is that,
Did
March
you say,
18th.
I'm sorry, what was
I
the
have
school board
the-
meeting that you were talking about in January?
the 15th.
Now, what are we, the
I'm
8th
sorry.
and the 15th?
I have the
I
8th
thought it
and
was the 22nd.
22nd.
Oh,
Did we already move it for that reason?
I believe so.
We did.
I don't,
Yeah, I
have
have the
the 22nd as
28th
well.
and the
Normally
Normally
do
the
22nd.
first and the 15th. though,
That's-
isn't it? Oh, no, the first.
the
oh,
first.
the holiday.
The
holiday.
Okay. See, we did plan around the school board meeting and we didn't even know it.
Yeah, there we go. It's not a non-issue.
Or maybe we did know it.
I have it in
Yeah,
my
that
calendar as the
is-
22nd as
yeah.
well.
Okay.
See, that's okay for me, the 15th.
So
I might
15th and
know.
22nd. 8th and 22nd.
8th and 22nd.
8th and 22nd. Okay, so good, no issues there then.
I was about to cancel our trip too, but no.
Oh, yeah, sure you are.
Right.
Now, the March one I have right though, right? The 4th and the 18th is the March one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have to see about the 18th one.
So I'll know in the middle of January for sure, so
Okay.
a couple months in advance I'll know.
Okay, and we'll just figure that out. So you guys will be here now.
I actually have somewhat of a conflict that evening that I would ignore otherwise, but if we had an opportunity to move it, I'd be very happy.
For
was
which
that
one?
The 18th of March.
No.
Okay.
I thought you were already wanting.
Yeah, I
not
thought you were
gonna be
already,
here.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Wait, where am I?
We were already counting on you not being here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. I'm in Michigan, but that's right. I'm calling into that. It's a conference call. Yeah, good. I can do both of those, but I will not be here physically for school board. Correct. That's right.
okay. All right, so we will revisit the 18th on a
Right.
future agenda. Whenever you know, Paul, just let me know,
Okay.
and then we'll figure that out, and maybe I can finalize my plans as well. Great, thank you. Mr. Caverly,
Thank
it's
you,
all
Madam
you.
Chairperson. Thank you. I just want to bring your attention back to 2 weeks ago when we had the opportunity to listen to the elementary school principals talk about some of the great things that were opportunities we have for students outside of the classroom. Tonight, we're going to continue that conversation with Mr. Bourbon and Mr. Scully. You're going to share some of those extracurricular opportunities that are available to our students at the high school and the middle school, and really taking into account kind of the interests that those students have. So, Tony and Rob, I turn it over to the two of you.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob, I appreciate it. It doesn't matter. I just, I brought this along, so if you want to just pass it around. We gonna sit at the, well, Rob.
Yeah.
Do we? I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure.
I just saw-
Sit down.
I just saw cookies, so I just.
Have a cookie.
Sure. Yeah.
Ryan, you can come up to the
I
table.
didn't want to yell from the.
He's the whole crowd.
So you've got a that I put together with regard to extra or new opportunities, student opportunities that are available at middle school for all students. And what we made the decision not to do is, this does not include any interscholastic athletic programs at all. As you well know, we have a very, very comprehensive interscholastic athletic program that supports all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. But I kind of broke it down into some categories. Stop me at any point in time if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about what's going on. But as far as clubs and activities, organizations, all of our programs start almost immediately after school, so students get out of school at about 2:28. There's that funny number again, but it's about 2:28, a couple of minutes to get themselves situated, then they arrive at whatever program they're going to attend for the afternoon. And all of our programs end in time for students to take the activity bus Monday through Thursday, and that arrives at the middle school just around 4 o'clock. So first thing we have up there is Odyssey of the Mind. We have a math team, a recycling program, a yearbook, the National Junior Honor Society, student council, a school newspaper, that's new this year, civil rights team project, robotics, and one that I didn't add in there, and it's, and I apologize for missing it, but it's our drama and our theater program. Matter of fact, we just had auditions for that. We'll have about 50 students participating in the drama production, which I believe is called Legally Blonde.
Junior.
Yeah. And so auditions just took place, and will go to production for mid to late March. So we'll keep you apprised of that. After school help program, so we have a Rock Star program that works with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students throughout the school year, meets with them about every other week. So they'll meet with the 6th grade group one week, they'll meet with the 7th grade group the following week. It also has a summer component to it for the 6th and the 7th grade students. We don't support the 8th grade students as they're moving along to the high school. So there's academic and activity components to that, but it keeps our students after school, and we're helping them connect to our school, socially, emotionally, academically, trying to help them navigate some of the struggles that they're having, maybe just assimilating with middle school life, just peers. We have an academic support program that we offer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Again, nothing usually on Fridays, but that right there is kind of one of our pathways to proficiency. It's a homework help club. So students who find themselves struggling to completely understand what's going on in the classroom, they can go, and we have teachers there assigned there as advisors, and they will help them through points of confusion. So we generally ask students to arrive with what is the problem, having tried and to make it through their academics, and then come to the teacher and have a very specific reason for being there. So we do some parallel teaching and some reteaching during that time, and it's also a very, very quiet space for students to be able to get some homework completed, where sometimes getting home around siblings and that type of thing can be a little chaotic and getting things done. So we have that. We have a peer mentor program, which is created by our guidance program. So this takes some of our students who've kind of figured it out already, and have kind of got things squared away with both their social and their academic lives. And so we connect them with people who are struggling a little bit. Usually they're 6th grade students. And so we have a nice peer connection there, and they do a number of things. It could be cleaning a locker out, or it could be sitting in the cafeteria having a juice and crackers and just kind of trying to figure out life. So it's just a real nice program to support some of our kids who haven't just quite made it yet. We have a very comprehensive intramural program where we have just these names, most of them, but this is ever changing. We have board games, volleyball, piano, guitar, art club, a challenge course, coding, health and fitness, and gym games. The change here is that this in the past was completely athletics. And so it was really a continuation of a PE program, or, kind of like a sub-varsity athletic program. And so we've done everything from DDR to knitting, to singing, to drawing, young authors and poets. The things that we offer is brought up by the students. If they'd like to do it, if we can get enough kids interested, we'll try it for at least a year, and some of these things hang on for a long time. So, and the things here that we offer really have replaced some of the historically, well-attended things like for instance basketball. So we started to lose, students interested in playing intramural basketball to some of the other things. You know what I mean? So they could engage in some interests. Academic advanced classes and extensions. So in our math program, so in addition to regular grade 7 math to our 6th graders, we offer 7th grade math, which is 7th grade math. Then we also offer them what would be the equivalent to pre-algebra or 8th grade math. So 6th grade students actually have the opportunity to take 2 levels above what their grade level actually is. In the 7th grade math, we offer 7th grade math, but we also offer a pre-algebra, and then we offer an algebra. And the midterm and the final exams in algebra are exactly the same as what you would take at the high school for a high school level course. So if you make it through algebra in 7th grade, you could take geometry in the 8th grade if you chose to. And that puts you on track to be able to take Algebra 2 when you reach high school as a freshman. In the 8th grade, we have 8th grade math, but we also have Algebra 1, again, just as we would offer in 7th grade, but we also have geometry. And if you don't complete the course to satisfactory to either yourself or the teacher, you will have the opportunity to take the course over. Neither of these, or none of these classes actually give you high school credit, but it allows you to start at a different point in time once you enter high school. In addition to that, we have 8th grade electives in art. So you take an art fundamentals class. That is a semester-long class, and if you take that when you're in middle school as an 8th grade student, it's a prerequisite to being able to take an upper level art class when you reach the high school. We also have Spanish 1. We have 2 sections of Spanish 1, and we have French 1, we have 1 section of that currently. And again, if you complete satisfactorily Spanish 1 or French 1 in the 8th grade, you're able to take French 2 or Spanish 2 when you get to the high school. Again, you don't get credit, on your transcript, but you are able to take a more advanced class if in fact that's something that you can handle and prefer to do. Beyond that, we have the school day support programs that we offer to students. So we have a gifted and talented program, and so this technically identifies the top 5% of our population, but we do service nearly 15% of our population of students who have kind of a gift in anything that could be art, could be music, could be math. So we try to make connections and get kids moving along in the area that they have a gift. We have a study skills program. This is a non-special service program. This is offered to any student, and it could be offered to a special service student, but it wouldn't be part of their IEP. But this right here is an opportunity for students during the school day just to kind of take a break. They're not taking on more information, and they do have direct access to teachers that are available at that time. And we also have a teacher advising that program that can help students complete homework. Again, this class could be used for organizational purposes and kind of the executive functioning types of things that they might be struggling with. We have an allied art program that offers phys ed, technology education, health, family and consumer science, French, Spanish, art, band, and chorus. And with a number of those courses at different times during your middle school years, being required classes. For instance, when you're in the 6th grade, we do require that students take PE, health, family and consumer science, and they take a technology class where they get a general understanding how to navigate the social media world, because they'll be getting laptops when they get into seventh grade. So I think a fairly comprehensive list of things that we offer, our programs. Again, as I said, this does not include any of our interscholastic athletic programs, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to.
Do you happen to know, this is totally unfair, but I'm curious to know if you know,
Good.
about how many kids are in the Civil Rights Team Project?
Yeah, we have probably about 20 kids.
20 kids? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is Odyssey of the Mind?
Odyssey of the Mind is kind of a gifted and talented program. And so these are students that have a real interest, let's just say, in robotics. And so they form a team. You have to have a team of at least 3 students. This year we do have one team right now with 7 students. And they'll go off and they'll compete against a number of different middle schools in the state. And they'll get a challenge, and maybe it's to create a robot that does X, I don't know what it would be, and they have to come up with their best solution to that, and they compete against others. And if they win that, then they go to a regional meet, and if they win that, they'll go to what they call the Worlds after that. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, a Great Works team actually made it to the Worlds. Yeah. So,
Actually, did that
sorry
when I
we
was in
didn't have
seventh
that
grade.
kid when
We
you
built a
were there.
robot.
It would have been hard.
Been around for that long.
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
My kids
We
did.
can
It's a good compliment to the STEM program.
Yes,
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, it absolutely is
You know,
that,
yeah.
and we make this a part of our GT program.
She was.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
awesome. Your kids, I think, it's just starting out.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Mr. Scully.
Sure. So that, Katie, I apologize. I don't know if I made enough. Really, I'll give you a,
Thank you.
I'll give you a, I'll give you a, I'll
I
give
can
you
give
a
you
copy.
mine.
I don't know if I made enough. We'll see if there's,
We'll see.
might have to share.
It's like the rest.
Saving us on
See if we
printing
get enough.
costs. It's very.
Sue and I can share.
Think you're gonna be good.
You guys think those are all about
Great. So this was actually a helpful exercise for me as I'm trying to audit and kind of do an inventory of what's out there, and had a chance to connect with some folks. So this is essentially an outline of the student opportunities, really the ones that occur after school, and as mentioned, not including athletics, categorized under some headings that we've been talking about as important areas on which to focus. So for example, student agency, when we talk about that, that would be areas where students are essentially the primaries. There's an adult guiding, but students are kind of the primary voice, and we're really doing that college career readiness training. And Katie and Sydney might identify the class officers or class reps, whatever the term for that is, in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Student government, of course, there's broken down into a wellness policy, a wellness committee, a policy committee, a student life committee, and a green committee. I've had an opportunity to meet with those folks and really been impressed, and I think we're working hard on, you're going to hear me say, reinvigorate, reimagine, reestablish, and they're really committed to getting themselves out there and showing the rest of the student body why they exist and how they do things and what they do. So the work in that area has been really, really encouraging. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I probably have a meeting with every one of those subgroups coming up and plan on attending more. And I don't know if Ms. Becker knows this, I think I'm going to deputize myself as a little bit of a co-advisor because I'm finding a lot of energy and excitement from that group. So I really want them to feel emboldened, and they're doing wonderful work. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think you guys feel like you could come out of the shadows a little bit more, and yeah, so we're really excited about We're really excited about that. Peer tutoring, and if I put an asterisk, that was just to remind me that that is an area that may have existed, but we're really refocusing, or is looking for a new advisor and we're doing the reinvigoration. So peer tutoring is something that I think is important because we're focusing on our RTI, we're focusing on student agency, we're focusing on serving students differently. So the peer tutoring group is, right now, I just lost her name. Do you know who's?
Sydney, or Mr. Leeds.
I think
Sydney Bingham?
Yeah,
Sydney Bingham is the student that's like running it.
is taking it and really running with it. And what it'd be doing is, you know, building capacity among peers to create a tutoring program in school. And we're working on aligning students in need with students who have capacity during free periods or even instructional time where it can be used as a resource for teachers or students. So that's under that student agency. So that's something that's existed, but we're trying to breathe a little bit of life into it. Another heading that we're focusing on, of course, is service and community outreach. The groups we have within that are Hawk Buddy, and I'll just kind of outline a little bit in questions. I'll be happy after. The Hawk Buddy program, Hawk Outdoor Leadership Development, the Interact Club, the Civil Rights Team that I think had settled as kind of an offshoot of student government, but we're going to take it out and we are doing a little bit of an all-call recruit for 2 advisors specifically to make a Civil Rights Team a standalone. I had a chance to meet with, my terrible name recalls, Gagnon, no.
Casey Gagnon? Katie
The
McCauley?
student, but the adult, she's gonna hate me.
Decker?
Who
Mrs.
else is
Decker?
civil rights? I feel terrible.
Katie McCauley.
Katie McCauley?
Grace Jacobs.
Grace Jacobs, yeah, Grace Jacobs.
Oh, she's with Interact. Oh, but she's also, yeah.
Yeah, so
right.
building, so we're gonna get some new advisors, but we wanna, folks who are already working, you know, and Mrs. Caverly, Grace Jacobs, and having a little summit for our 2 new advisors to really, you know, bring the Civil Rights Team into the light a little bit and create some real capacity there. And same with We the People, I think we're looking for a new advisor in that. But in that service, community outreach, what are we doing and can we help it improve? And what aren't we doing that we really want to build capacity? And so the next heading is just the activities, clubs, organizations, where I think the headings, the titles speak for themselves. American Sign Language, Art Club, Board Game Club. So as you go through it, you will see, you know, there is some diversity within that, but we'd be looking at making sure students understand how an interest becomes an opportunity. So Cyber Patriots Club, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon Club, and then the Honor Societies, Latin Club, Math Club, Gifted and Talented, Girls Who Code, Gender and Sexuality Alliance, High School Quiz Show, Winter Guard, Yearbook, and again, we're taking a step back audit and a little analysis of what interests aren't represented in there, and then again, making sure students understand how an interest becomes an opportunity, a club or an organization. And then last but not least, you know, things that exist currently, just categorized under a theme in the performing arts. There seems to be a really strong opportunities there. District musical, the jazz band, marching band, one-act play, select choir, spring musical, spring play, wind ensemble, winter percussion. And again, in list form, it gives you a sense. But if you were to flesh out all the different opportunities, it's pretty impressive. But again, you know, as we're doing an audit and kind of inventory across the board, something maybe more in the STEAM family, we probably need to grow in that direction, STEAM family, and definitely that service outreach, although we have some, and Katie, I think Tony has an actual Rockstar Club, Katie probably in Sydney, but Katie, the Rockstar, the Interact Club. Interact does a lot if you flesh that out, but still within service and community outreach and creating partnerships, we'll probably be looking at doing some more intentional work there, so. Happy to answer questions.
Stuff. Good.
Thank you both. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Have a cookie on the way out.
My next thing on my agenda is the resignation of Joanne Roberts, who is currently the school nurse at the high school. On Thursday of last week, I received a resignation from Joanne that she would be done effective in February. Joanne joined us originally as a health occupations instructor, so when Stanford Regional Vocational Center offered their program here at the high school, Joanne was kind of the go-to person for that. She then evolved into our school nurse, and so it's really going to be a tough loss for us, to have someone who was actually in the classroom working with CNAs, developing that program, and then being able to, kind of transition to become a school nurse within the building. You bring it, two really unique skill sets together, and Joanne really had the great ability to do that, so she will be sorely missed. School nurses is a big job anywhere, but at a high school it's a whole other level, particularly with the new laws around immunizations and things like that. So there's a lot of pressure with that position. So Joanne has done a great job with that. She'll be sorely missed. So, thank you to Joanne for everything. I turn it over now to Katie and Sydney.
We don't have a lot to report on, but some things that Interact is working on right now is, we've talked about it a little bit before, is the winter coat drive. There was some confusion before, and we're obviously accepting coats, but any winter gear is open for acceptance. The Interact Club is running it at the high school, and we're also working with the student council at the middle school, and there's a bin there as well. Here at the high school, there's a collection bucket, like a big recycling bin in the library. Do you know where it is at the middle school?
It's in the main office.
The main office. So there's also one main office of the middle school. So we're working with that, and that's going to go until January 10th. So hopefully that gives students and teachers a chance after Christmas to bring in their coats. And then the food drive. So we had a food drive like this past week or so, and we did an advisory competition, and we were not as successful as we have been earlier in the year. I think that with the Spirit Week food drive and with Trick or Treat for Cans, we were very successful, but this year, I think normally this time of year, like this is like the second or third can drive in a row. So I think students are a little bit less prone to bring stuff in. But in the future, I think we just need to do a better job advertising. But we do still have some, and the Lions Club is going to pick that up tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Okay. For sports, indoor track has their first meet on Saturday at USM. And girls basketball won their game versus Kennebunk on Friday. And they're playing right now, I think, in York. Yeah. And then boys basketball had a game versus Kennebunk on Friday, and they're playing York right now in the gym. And hockey had a game versus Cheverus on Saturday, and they're going to play York tomorrow at 5 in Dover. And wrestling has a meet tonight in Freiburg and is competing in the Atlantic Invitational on Saturday. And Quiz Show is doing really good this year, apparently. They legally can't tell us if they won anything yet, but they're doing really well, apparently. And Ned and Jay Whitesell are doing extremely well. That's what. And then the show airs late February, early March on PBS.
Sharon Moss, right? Isn't that the?
Oh, is she the?
I think she was the announcer still.
It used to be. Was it Shannon Moss? She's got a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. In person, she's a little more wacky than.
Carrie and I went and saw it being taped. And
Oh, really?
It was just
fun.
not the recent one, but in the past,
okay.
it was amazing how much goes into a half-hour show. It was just,
Yeah.
it was
A couple hours of filming for a half hour, and she would crack me up because she had an earpiece in, so she'd be talking to the people who were talking to her.
Right.
But it's like she's like, oh, and it's like she's talking to no one.
But out of the blue, you think the show's going a certain way, and all of a sudden
she'll be like, oh, okay, it's like what just happened? It was funny.
Very interesting.
It was very interesting.
And that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Thank you, John. We do have one bit of correspondence from the Jimmy Fund. Dr. Nash's father died, and the school made a donation to the Jimmy Fund. So she's had a rough road since she left here. Her sister and then her father. So.
And surgery.
And she had shoulder replacement surgery as well. So, yeah, her sister passed away and about 6 weeks before that, a month before
Yes.
that.
Wow.
Very sad.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a very tough road for her, so we wish her well on her recovery from her shoulder surgery. She's hoping to head to Florida soon. All right, so finance and facilities, we met before this meeting. Joe, you want to do the money?
I can certainly give it a shot. I believe in our last meeting, I reported that our cash flow was a little bit negative at that point. That has improved dramatically. We're pretty much back to where we need to be, or getting close to. And I want to say this right. It looks like expenditures are running behind budget now, which is where we want to be. So that was good. Federal grants, we're having a little bit of trouble with Title I and Title II money. The state apparently is asking us for additional documentation on some things, and then when we provide it, they're asking for additional documentation on things. We expect that to remedy at some point.
You should run out of things they can ask for, right? Eventually.
Adult ed is running a little bit ahead on revenue, which is good. School nutrition seems to be holding its own. We're doing at least as well as last year's, I think, what the summary was, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And Matt or Sue, do you guys want to do facilities? It's not much going on.
Yeah, looks like
Which
we
is
have
good.
a measurable solution for the installation of a flow meter at the high school, which we're looking to pay for water coming in and not groundwater. Transportation, we have a 10-hour weekend mechanic, working 10 hours, and we're looking for someone to maybe support him or her during those 10 hours as far as just, I guess, another hands-on person in the garage. Marshall Middle School, we have a food cart at 3 locations coinciding with break time, which is really great.
Do the kids seem excited about that?
Yeah, it's going excellent, excellent.
Nice.
Cool.
Just checked in today, I think we're doing between 25 and 30 break reimbursable meals.
Wow.
What are they selling on the
currently,
food
and
cart?
that's not taking away from any of the first arrival breakfast or anything like that, and so it seems like we're.
What's on the card, Tony? What do they say?
They have, they put things together to make a reimbursable meal, so they'll have something that meets, the grain, so they'll have like a cake, they'll have yogurts, smoothies, there's milk, juice, so there's a lot of variety for kids to choose, and then they can also just a la carte as well. They don't have to buy a reimbursable meal, but the vast majority of people are, and it's going well, and it smells delicious when they're rolling through the cart, so alcohol, so it's going very well.
Awesome.
Maybe a field trip.
Yeah, go over for breakfast. Wonderful. Thank you. I think that was about it for finance facilities. Ed policy, we met today. Lisa or Paul, do you guys want to go over? I mean, I can. I brought my packet.
Yeah, you know, so that's great. We went over a lot of stuff.
We have several policies that we're going to work on in January. And there's a couple of board-related policies that Paul and Lisa and I are going to read and then kind of report back to the crowd what we think, if there are any changes. And a couple others that we're going to work on in January. So we did a lot of work, but we have to make the changes, bring the policy back, tweak it a little more. So
And some of them are pretty big topics as
they're
well.
big topics. Yeah, we were talking about advertising in the schools and student wellness, which is huge and coincides with the wellness committee that met a little bit earlier today. And then what else? Yeah, just some tobacco,
Alcohol policy. in
alcohol
high school.
policy, yeah, alcohol and drug policy. So lots of big stuff can't be decided in an hour.
Or two.
Or two. But we will have, we'll have some more policies for you in January. And, I wanted to say on finance and facilities, I assume next meeting is 22nd, not the 15th.
Sorry.
No, I thought it was the 15th too, obviously, so I'm just gonna change that to the 22nd. Yeah. No, I thought it was too. You and me must have heard the same thing. All right. So tonight, we have all the second reads on the policies that we did the last meeting. So can we have a motion for policy AC?
I'll move we approve the second reading and discussion of policy non-discrimination, equal opportunity and affirmation action, Alpha Charlie.
All right. Good job there, Mr. Stanley. Anybody want a second? Okay. Did anybody find any additional questions or changes? These were pretty minor changes.
I imagine we add the and the last year, that it was revised once it's totally final, right? So it'd be whatever, could be next year by the time we get to that, right? So then it's not.
Well, it should be this year.
Today.
Yeah, we should do it today, so that will get added on once we, onto the policy.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I revised, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
All right, and if no one has anything, all those in favor? Okay, and the next one, ACAA.
I move we approve the second reading and discussion of policy harassment and sexual harassment of students, ACAA.
Second.
All right. Anybody have any changes or on that one? I know they're all pretty minor, so. All right, all those in favor then? And how about ACAAR?
I'll move that we approve second reading and discussion of policy student discrimination and harassment compliant procedure ACAA-R.
Second.
How about that one? Any changes? All right, all those in favor then? And ACAB.
All right, I'll move that we approve the second reading and discussion of policy harassment and sexual harassment of school employees, ACAB. Alpha Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Thank you. That's
His
it.
everlasting impact on
I
the
know,
public
I
hearing.
know. Dan.
Forever think of Dan.
I was getting ready to send him a Christmas card, and Jessica looked over and said, "Who's that?" And I had to explain it.
Alpha Charlie Bravo.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Dan Sentence.
I'll second.
All right, Lisa. Were any changes on that one? All right, all those in favor?
We're trying to leave an empty second in honor of him.
Yes. All right,
Majority.
ACABR.
I move that we approve the second reading and discussion of policy employee and third-party discrimination and harassment complaint and procedure, Alpha Charlie, Alpha Bravo, Romeo.
We've all learned so much.
Romantic.
And Sue seconds. All right. Were there any other changes on that one? Okay, all those in favor then? All right, so new business. Can I have a motion for the wrestling team to go to the Lowell, Mass tournament?
I'll move we approve an overnight of the Marshwood High School wrestling team to attend a tournament in Lowell, Massachusetts, December 27th and 28th, that the wrestling boosters will pay for. The hotel, meals, and drivers.
All right.
I'll second that.
Is there anything special we need to know? It's something they always go to one overnight, it
Yeah,
seems like,
yeah,
either in
and-
Bangor.
And this is really the premier wrestling tournament in England. It's very tough to get into, so it's a big deal.
Cool.
Unfortunately, the numbers we have
Right.
to wrestle is
Probably
really,
only need
really
two
low.
rooms,
Yeah,
right?
I think it'd be
Yeah.
a van. So, yeah,
It'll be a
so-
van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a great opportunity for those kids who are wrestling.
Absolutely. Well, it becomes more of an individual event
Yeah.
instead of a team event because they've got some holes, unfortunately, this year. But
Is this the Atlantic?
Say it again?
Is this the Atlantic?
No, the Atlantic is the one in Wells. This is the Lowell Holiday.
so, all right, all those in favor? And we wish them good luck.
For
and well.
sure.
Yeah.
Before we adjourn, does anybody on the board have anything else? Rob or Tony, anything you haven't told us tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to, actually, Katie kind of reminded me of this, but, our students at the middle school have really been active in terms of, kind of, giving and trying to help out, around our communities. And so, so far this year, we actually had 2 can drives. Our Thanksgiving can drive and non-perishable drive was unreal. I mean, we had so much stuff. Thought they were going to come back for second load. Not so much with the Christmas collection, but still very, very, very good. We've had a sock drive this year. We had a Toys for Tots collection that had a bin that was overflowing. A pajama drive that was led by Tammy Schaaf in the 6th grade. 65 pair of pajamas for local families. The NJHS dodgeball tournament raised almost $500 for buying gifts for local families who, give them a nice Christmas season. And we're trying to chip in a little bit, and Katie reached out to me and asked if we wouldn't mind, partnering up on this coat drive, which we're, doing. But just really, really impressive to see, how much our students are willing to help out and to give of themselves and think of others before themselves. And so I'm just couldn't be prouder of them. So a lot going on, Marshall Middle School.
Wonderful. Rob?
Yeah, and I think in a similar vein, first of all, to be saying January feels a little strange. I feel like the year has gone very, very quickly. Whenever that happens personally for me, it means it's a good thing. And keeping in the theme of what our students have been doing, that's one of the things I'm really trying to dig into now, like operationally, how does the school run every day was my priority at the beginning. And I've just really enjoyed my time with, student government and Interact Club and advisories and going into classrooms for observation. So I think we're in excellent shape for the job that Tony does, the students that he sends to us. So I say that because I think the second part of the year, or the new year, is going to bring, and you may or may not be getting the guidance newsletter. I'm not sure if you get that. But that was a commitment we made.
Parents do.
Yeah.
Submitted on the board.
Yeah, so because that was a commitment that we made to this year, where we want to increase the transparency and the communication to trumpet that stuff a little bit more regularly. Vicky's been wonderful, but the second half of the year, using NEASC, I think, as the impetus a little bit. The NEASC accreditation is we're going to really be able to communicate to parents, here's how we're living our mission, we're doing a self-reflection on it, you're welcome to be part of that, and we need you to be part of that. Students are going to play a big role in that self-reflection part, and we're really, really excited about all the work we're doing. Tony and his crew are doing a great job, and we're trying not to mess it up. But just the exposure I've had to what the student experience is has been helping with how we can enhance it. And we'll use the NEASC and the new year as the real kickoff to increase some of that communication, some of the transparency, some of the invitation to come join us in our reimagined society. In a practical sense, board is part of the NEASC, so we'll do some invites there, but I just want to give some context that once 2020 begins, we're ready to kind of now start taking that next step and inviting the community to be a bigger part of what's going on and what we're about.
Excellent. All right, if no one has anything else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn this meeting.
Second that.
All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
The motion to adjourn is the top motion. You have to adjourn.